Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. I have been busy living my life as a newlywed. You see that ring? See it right there? Babe, show your ring.
Oh.
Shut that. Oh, got him. So we've just been living our lives. So that's why I haven't uploaded in a while. Was helping prepare for the wedding, enjoy the wedding, and as we're recording this, we're getting ready to go to Las Vegas.
Yes.
For our honeymoon.
I'm going to go for a week.
Yes.
Hopefully unwind.
Hopefully unwind. Yes. So I'm very excited for that. So that's why you guys haven't seen any videos in a while. And so I'm not officially back making content yet because of the honeymoon, but I wanted to make a reaction video to Uncle Tom Part 2 because the trailer just dropped and I am super excited because if you've never seen Uncle Tom, the first one, this movie was a part of my wake-up moment. When everything was going crazy in 2020 with the George Floyd and the BLM and the peaceful riots were taking place, I was starting to believe that I was going a little bit crazy because we both started losing friends. There was a lot of friction with our family members and whatnot, and I needed an outlet. I needed to find out if maybe I'm the one causing these problems. Maybe I'm the crazy one. And after watching this movie, I realized I'm not the crazy one. And the problem is that a lot of people have been conditioned to believe that Black Americans are supposed to think and behave in a certain way. And that's not realistic. That's not the reality. That's why I'm really excited to watch this part 2. So what did you think about Uncle Tom when you first watched it?
I would say it was a very crucial component in my political awakening, in our political awakening, I would say. So it definitely, it kind of lifted the veil on everything that we were told because we weren't used to hearing the other side in its totality, at least until we saw this documentary. And it was just funny how at least both of us can relate to it when we were, seeing the way that people were treated when they were young, and that it's more of a monolith to kind of be on like the Democratic side, and that it was just by default, if you were Black, you just voted blue no matter who. And it was just disgusting, the things that were in that documentary and how it's just even still accepted today.
Yeah.
And, to even be, just the even premise of being called an Uncle Tom, and, you're sort of Black, but not really, because you don't fall in line. And it was just disgusting. And what makes it even more disgusting is that it's kind of cheered on. So even though it was crucial to our political awakening, I wouldn't say like, I'm a Republican, but I'm so happy that I was able to listen to the other side, because it seems as though we're just preconditioned to only listen to one side and only vote on that side because it's in culture, it's in Hollywood, it's in all avenues of really consumption of everything, even in education. Like I said, I felt angry after. It was just like, this is insane that this was all withheld from us. And we always learned about Black history, and just when it comes to culture, and no matter what, Republicans were always made fun of. And every time we saw like any type of movie that had to do with politics, the Democrats were kind of looked at as the hero or for the people. And then you listen to the things in this documentary and you're like, wait, what?
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the trailer, and I'll pause every few seconds, and you can provide your insights and I will provide my insights, and it'll be a grand old fun time. What do you think, babe?
Sounds good. Let's go.
All right, let's do it.
When you look at these pictures, you get a sense of what Black life was like.
Some of them look pretty prosperous.
Want to stop right there, babe. How would you describe the way that a lot of Black people, not all, but the way that a lot of Black people present themselves today? How would you describe that in comparison to what we're looking at right now?
Like culturally, if we were to see, I would say more in the entertainment space, it's not class. It's more of the lack of class. And that gets promoted more. So it's just like, okay, even though it may sound cliche, but it still happens now. It's just like, all right, weed or something gets involved in some way, or promiscuity, or just the lack of clothes. So we see in this trailer, it was just like everyone. We talked about it too. It was just like how everyone just looked nice, just classy, even the music, and prosperous and happy. And now it's because of the moral values changed. So when we look at for like Black culture and we see like supposedly cultural icons for at least women like Cardi B and like Meg Thee Stallion, who barely wear anything and practically dry hump each other on stage, it's just like people look at that as empowerment as opposed to, really what their moral values came down to. And it's just a lack of it now from what you see.
Same could be said about like the dude bros that have their pants sagging halfway below their butt. It's so interesting that the way that a lot of Black Americans present themselves is so gross, and then in the same breath a lot of people will complain, well, we don't get any respect, people perceive us in a stereotypical manner. Where do you think people are getting the stereotypes from? You're creating them.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
yeah, I mean, and the thing is just we also just kind of boosted up within entertainment too.
Yeah.
Like whenever you see older movies where we see, when they talk about Black culture and like the sagging pants and whatnot, and when it came to like gangster rap and whatnot, that was more promoted than anything. It's not like it was looked down upon. It was like, nah, this is the culture. This is how we are. So yeah, I would just say it's weird in a way that it's not looked down upon. I'm not sure at what point where these types of things, where it's like the lack of values kind of skyrocketed, and we kind of celebrated more of not so much like mediocrity, but just people just not caring.
Yeah.
Because like, well, you have your pants down like below your underwear, you don't care.
I just find it odd that in a time in history where Black people had less freedom and were perceived in a way worse light than Black people are now, how is it that they presented themselves better? We have more rights today as Black people. We have more opportunities, and it's a mess. Like if I'm looking at the culture of the Black culture, because there seems to be a culture, the media thinks there is, right? So it's a mess.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Divine providence was clearly operating in the lives of Black Americans.
Throughout history, Black folks were honorable. They had integrity. That's what Black people were.
Isn't that what you're just talking about? Just talking about. It's not classy. It's just like, what does twerking on strangers in a music video, where is the integrity with that?
Yeah. Or just like the ratchet lifestyle in itself. I think a better way to even explain it, well, I wouldn't say a better way, but another avenue would be like music. Remember we were just playing like the Temptations, or we listened to like Aretha Franklin and everything, and it's just like when you even were to see them perform, like even just seeing the Temptations perform, the way they dressed, the way they were, of course they had their flaws as well, but look at them, and it's just, that's completely different if you were to bring up kind of like any rapper right now that has like 6 tattoos on their face kind of rapping about the same thing. It's not to say that there aren't lyrical geniuses out there,
right?
But what gets promoted more in the culture is that type of degeneracy.
Yeah. The degeneracy also, it's like you mentioned music. What causes someone to shoot up some person on a block and then go to the studio and rap about it and try to make a song out of that lifestyle? Like, that's so deranged to me.
We were never taught that America was bad and that we were not Americans. We were raised to love America.
Protesters toppled a statue of Christopher Columbus, and hundreds of statues have been vandalized.
You see people trying to rewrite history.
The American people know these names have to go.
Why is that?
Why is that, babe? Why are they trying to rewrite history and take down statues?
Well, it's to erase it. So, I mean, history is there so we don't repeat our mistakes. And if it's erased, then we'll repeat the mistakes.
Yeah.
So to me, it just bolsters more of acting more on emotion instead of actually knowing the history behind any of these statues.
If people don't know their history, they're doomed to repeat it. if you have people in positions of power that are encouraging the removal of statues or encouraging you to try and rewrite history, which you can't do that anyway, you have to ask yourself, why are they doing that? Because the people that have the microphones right now, the loudest people, these are the folks that are trying to, I think, get Black people fixated on white supremacy and slavery. They're trying to remind them about that specifically so they can totally disregard the reality that there are other movements throughout history that have used Black people for gain. You're literally trying to rewrite history by hiding history so people don't know what's coming. They don't know what's going to hit them until it actually does. Now, the other question I have is, when you were in school, did you ever have a moment where you hated America? Were you taught to hate America?
No, but whenever we got on the topic of slavery, for some reason it was like you were defaulted to feel some type of way. At least when it felt like to that. And it's just like, okay, yeah, so they did this to slaves, they did that to slaves. It's not bad that we know those things, but whenever we learned about certain aspects, it was kind of like angry moments whenever we learned those. But I wouldn't say that we were kind of taught to not like America. We were told about a lot of its flaws, which obviously, every country will have its flaws. But when it came to kind of like segregation and when it came to, I guess, like the Black community, that was the biggest screw up. And that was always highlighted no matter what I was kind of taught in school, except I would say in 7th grade, I had a great history teacher where we did watch, I was in a history club, we watched Roots after, and he didn't have us hate America from that. He wanted us to really know this was a good film to kind of tell a story about that. And it's funny because he's one of my favorite teachers and he's actually a conservative.
I think I told you this. I had a brief moment in the 6th grade where I hated standing for the Pledge of Allegiance because I heard it through other kids in school. Why do I have to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Do you believe everything that has to do with America or the American values? And I never questioned it because I'm so young, but all my friends are saying, don't stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'm like, okay. So there was a moment that I wasn't, and it was not until I got older that I understood context of, like, for example, people that go to war to defend this country. I don't like war, but I can appreciate the freedoms that I have now and understand that I have a very privileged life compared to other people in other parts of the world. So why the hell wouldn't I stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Man, they got you young.
They got me young. Yeah. Oh, man. All right, let's continue.
Whenever you have something to be proud of, people have less of a chance of controlling you.
This country is racist from top to bottom, from right to left. And for Black people to become a part of that is for them to become, in fact, anti-Black and to hate themselves.
There is no country in this world that a Black person would rather be. Unless, of course, they grow up in this country.
You broke the contract for 400 years. We played
Then
I hated that clip.
Yeah,
when I saw that.
I remember that clip a while ago.
I hate that. That, to me, that is insanity. Something, you broke the contract 400 years. You weren't alive 400 years ago. You don't know anyone that was alive 400 years ago. So why are you fixated on something like living in the past? In any other context, like, for example, in our relationship, if I bring up something that happened 2 years ago, you'd probably be like, babe, why are we talking about this?
I forgot exactly what she was saying in that. I remember just that whole kind of rant, and it's not to negate what happened in history, but I think what gets to me more is the fabricated anger. That is, no matter what anyone says, I know that this was triggered after George Floyd's death, and we didn't get into anything else other than the fact that we saw the knee and that's how he died. And no matter what, it triggered emotions and it triggered all these reactions. And from what we were told in the beginning, we were saying that was justified. Everything being burned down. No, this was 400 years of anger, this, and that. And it's just no, a lot of this was fabricated anger. I don't care what anyone says, because we were seeing someone that young and even 14-year-olds screaming and yelling. That is fabricated anger because they never experience that type of segregation or I would say racism in their lifetime. I don't care what, like, you know, you weren't being chased down the street by dogs. You didn't experience what your great grandfather experienced. So it wasn't real. And no matter what, it's another reason why I can't really be any way on the Democratic side, is because they really rely on the emotions. And when I see this, even, you know, like the riots and people like crying and everything, it's just reopening a wound. And they're not interested in healing.
Yeah.
That's what I can't respect about it.
Yeah.
At least people that go on this, you know, pro-black, we're so about wanting to, you know, be more for black inclusion and black people this, black people that. They don't do it from a healing aspect. They always do it digging up that wound to make sure they remind you why you're angry, to stay angry, and let's keep moving forward. You can't move forward if you stay angry. You can't move forward if that wound is not healed. So it's always, when we go from this aspect, like the clips that we're seeing, how are we supposed to heal from that? We're not. And we always just fixate on, you know, black deaths from white police officers. When we see the crimes with black on black crime,
right.
It's not a made up term. It happens and it's completely ignored.
If you want to help someone, you're going to push them to actually go forward with a solution. You burning stuff down and rioting and screaming and blaming everything on white supremacy and racism and 400 years of oppression, that is just complaining and nothing is getting done. You're in a cycle of complaining. And who does that benefit? You're not making your communities any better by complaining. So who does it benefit? It benefits the people that are encouraging you to keep complaining, because you're creating a commotion that they could use for their own gain, which we're seeing with the Democrat Party. You know, it allows a political savior to come in and say, hey, sounds like you have a problem with white supremacy and systemic racism. Vote for me and I'll take care of it. Joe Biden's been in office for a while. Is racism gone, babe? Is the systemic whatever gone?
You would think the black president that we have for 8 years, racism would have been gone.
Yeah, right? Imagine that. I feel like racial tensions got worse after Obama got in office.
That's very odd to even say,
it's
considering a black man got the highest office in the land twice.
Yeah.
But somehow we're more racist.
But you know what it is? And this is something that I've learned with all of like my research and watching how the left operates to project what they think is happening as opposed to acknowledging what is actually happening. When Obama got in office, I'm sure there were a lot of racist people that were like, I don't want this Negro in office. But oftentimes what I found is people legitimately did not like his policies. They didn't like what he stood for. They had criticisms about him as a president, but the left was automatically, you're racist. Yeah. No questions asked. And I was one of those people. That's how I know, because I used to say the same exact thing. And that is how I think racial tensions got worse, is you villainize an entire group of people for 8 years. And then when Trump got in office, you're voting for a white supremacist. The same people that were angry at the black man are now voting for the white supremacist. It's all manufactured, and it's just continuing. And it's just so sad. There was no point to that. It's just so sad.
No, it is.
All right, let's continue.
And they're fed a lie that is so deceptive. The reason that lie exists is power.
There are certain people who are using the Negro in order to establish that power in Washington. And the Negro is just merely a pawn in a game that's bigger than he is.
Yup.
It's crazy to see how relevant everything that was said is today, like how to a T, that nothing has been changed, and we've been warned multiple times, even back then, and how its relevancy has not gone away.
Yep. This trailer reminds me of a book that I read. It was one of the first books I came across when I was going down the rabbit hole trying to figure out why everything was so divided and why black conservatives were sort of brushed to the side and stuff. And I went down the communist rabbit hole, and I found a book written by a man named Manning Johnson, who was a black guy that joined the Communist Party movement, and he was with them until he realized that things weren't adding up and they were using black people for communist goals. And I recommend everyone check it out. It's called Color, Communism, and Common Sense. And I think that the way that this trailer is positioning itself, they might dive deeper into how the feelings and emotions of black people are weaponized for political gain. So I'm really excited to see that.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to, just because it kind of seems like it's just continuing, because we already seen that they used all sorts of things to kind of manipulate just like black culture to be a specific way. But here I think it's getting into the nitty gritty on like specifically what tactics are used besides it just being emotion, which has been their most successful one so far.
Yeah. Oh yeah. How was that for your first reaction video?
I'm glad because I really liked the first one. So the fact that there is even a second one, that's pretty dope. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see it and see what more I can learn from this.
Awesome. All right. Well, everyone, I hope you've enjoyed this reaction video. If you did, give it a like and hit that subscribe button and share it with all of your friends. All right. Have a viewing party of Uncle Tom. All right. That sounds like a fun. Remember that time we had a viewing party?
Yeah, we had a viewing party and then one of our friends left because he said it was propaganda.
It's a good one. This is the friend that said I wasn't acting black enough. All right. What did he say?
Yeah, that you don't act like a typical black person. But you know what? Hopefully he's, God bless.
God bless, my friend.
God bless.
All right, y'all. My name is Gothix.
And I'm Saul, the husband.
The husband! And we will see you next time. Bye. Thanks for watching. If you want to keep my grift going, consider picking up some official merch by visiting nosisnos.com/Gothix or joining my locals community at gothix.locals.com for more content. As always, you can help amplify my message by giving this video a thumbs up and by sharing it online with your friends. Until next time.